Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show, today coming to you live from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise Inn at the Lupe Tortilla Tex-Mex restaurant on the Southwest Freeway between Shepherd and Kirby. Our guest today will include a bunch of car owners making today's cruise in. Mr. Mars is going to review the 2021 Ford F-350, which they can't build enough of.
It's a big one.
We'll have your weekly events calendar and give you the stories making automotive news headlines this week. That and more just ahead on today's In Wheel Time Car Show for Saturday, April 17th, 2021. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeffrey Zekin, His Highness Chief Engineer, Mr. David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us this morning. It's a little bit on the chilly side. We've finally got some cool air in here, and there's a big chance of rain, well, 50% chance of rain. Some of the showers moving up the freeway. We'll see if they make it up this far, but, you know.
Say hi to Katy. Katy just joined us.
Hi, Katy. Katy Armstrong in Denver. She's going snowboarding this morning. I talked to her yesterday.
We may do that this afternoon.
We may. If the temperature keeps
cold
dropping.
it gets, right?
Yeah. But it actually feels really good after all of the heat and the humidity and the rain that we've had all week long. We've got a lot of car stories to tell you about, and we're going to get to that. Mr. Mars, how was your week?
It had a good week.
Oh, that's good. I had a very interesting conversation on Thursday with a fellow by the name of Billy Stabile. And he owns a company called the Hollywood Car Company in Hollywood, California.
Really?
And he supplies most of the cars
For movies?
TV
shows?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Neat.
And so I was interviewing him because I was doing an article for Bay Area Houston Magazine on Ford versus Ferrari. And those are the actual theme show cars that are going to make an appearance at Keels and Wheels in a couple of weeks.
Correct.
And I had a really hard time trying to find some information on the Ferrari 330 P3, which is the one that appeared in the movie. Actually, there were several of them, and he had 6 of them built at a company up in Michigan. I'll get to that in a little bit. But anyway, this particular one is going to make an appearance at Keels and Wheels.
So he was the one who supplied those vehicles to the movie.
Along with everything else.
Oh,
He
cool.
supplied 60 cars.
Oh,
60
wow.
cars, to the Ford versus Ferrari. The Cobras, all of the different cars that you saw in the movie, he supplied them. And when I talked to him, he was working on some, I don't know, movie or television show and didn't have time to talk. I'm going to have to call you back. We see it.
I'm trying to get Jeff to switch the video out there.
Okay. So at any rate, it was a very interesting conversation, and we're going to have him as our first guest at Keels and Wheels at 8 o'clock on
cool.
Saturday morning, because his dad started the business, and he supplied all the cars to American Graffiti.
Oh.
And he also supplied the cars to Knight Rider, amongst other movies that you would want to know about. So the guy is a fascinating guy.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and he is buried deep into the movie industry. So, you know, when you see whatever cars that you see in a movie, chances are pretty good that he's the one that supplied the cars.
How cool is that?
So that's going to happen at 8 o'clock in a couple of weeks when we make an appearance at Keels and Wheels.
It'll be May the 1st. And that's really a good thing. That's great timing because Aaron Shelby, grandson of Carol Shelby, is going to be there, and he's going to be joining us in that first hour or two. He's going to join us early in the morning.
Yeah. So we're going to have a whole bunch of really great guests at that event. And we're seeing more cars come in here, as a matter of fact. I see a Studebaker. Is that a Studebaker Hawk?
I believe it's a Hawk.
Yep.
And there's the Ford GT, a nice red one with white stripes that has just pulled in. So we're going to have some cars, it looks like, here today. I'm glad to report. And don't forget, this is the Tailpipes and Tacos event. And our manager, Pablo, walking across the parking lot right now, supplying all the tacos and coffee and cocktails that you'd like to have on your Saturday morning.
If you're not here, get here now.
Yeah, and not only is this just a car event, this is also a spectator event.
Right.
So we invite you to stop by You're out and about running errands this morning, get to see some really cool cars, have a taco, and be on your way to the Academy next door. Or I don't think Twin Peaks is open yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. But Academy looks like they're getting ready to open. They're right next door. So that's really your landmark. They got the biggest sign on the block here. And it's between the Shepherd and Kirby exits. Either way, coming or going, you exit Shepherd Drive. And going northbound, you make a U-turn. If you're headed southbound, go through the light, and we're on the right-hand side.
On the southbound service road.
Yeah. We're not on the freeway.
No, but on the service road.
We are.
But
actually, we're not on the service road. We're off to the side of the service road.
Okay. Some cool cars showing up, though.
They are.
A Di Tommaso Mangusta.
Uh-huh. And you know, the interesting, that I knew this was going to happen. The interesting thing is that these guys that do these cruise-ins, for the most part, some come from distance, but others are usually neighborhood cars within maybe 5 or 10 miles.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And we're in an area of Houston that is a nice upper crust of Houston. Can I say that?
And there's a good collection of cars stuffed away in some of these garages nearby.
Garages and warehouses.
And that's what's showing up.
Yeah, it's very nice. What is that, a 62 Nova?
No, I'd say 66, 67.
Okay.
67.
How can you tell the difference between this?
60, what, 7?
7? 67.
Thank you very much.
He'll have to tell us how I can tell the difference between the two.
I love the car.
No, the
hood
lines.
Taillights?
You did say upper crust. I think you all are crusty.
We are.
Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
It's a gorgeous Nova, though.
So at any rate, that's what we got going on today. Mr. Mars, are you going to get the guy from the GT?
Yeah, he's really got engaged in a conversation over there. So let me go.
Well, unengage him and bring him over here, and we'll engage him over here, if you can, or any of those guys.
The 69.
Okay. Well, whatever you'd like to do.
Or we could just call him out here and tell him to come on.
We don't have a microphone cable quite long enough to go out there. Well, I guess we could string enough together. Huh?
Just scream.
Just scream. Exactly. Well, we'll do that.
Well, David's a screamer, I guess.
There you go.
We've got a lot of news stories today to get to as well. And also, I wanted to welcome our new sponsor, the Bayway dealerships, namely Bayway Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, Bayway Chevrolet, and Bayway Lincoln, all managed by a guy by the name of Lincoln Stahl. Convenient, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Really a nice guy. He's the right-hand man of Darrell Wisniewski, and who owns the Bayway brand. And we got a lot of great things planned for this partnership. And one of the things that I proposed, we haven't decided on a date yet or when and how it's all going to happen. I was talking to David about it last night. But we plan on going to see the Darrell Wisniewski collection.
Oh,
and I think that I've mentioned this before. It's in a secret hideaway, and we're not going to disclose that. But inside, there are probably, I'm just guessing, 3 or 4 dozen of classics, really cool cars, or very unique cars.
But cars of Mr. Wisniewski's passion.
And a lot of 60s and early 70s, really, and the majority of the cars are all restored or are totally original to the original condition.
That's
and you never
unusual.
see a collection like that. But it is truly. So we're planning on.
Well, I remember you telling me, too, when you got a chance to kind of preview it, he knows the story behind every car.
Yes, he does. And that's why he bought them.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it's going to be. We're going to try to do that, I think, this summer if we can, but it's going to take quite an effort because we're going to walk around. That'll be a first for us. At least we're going to try to walk around through the collection.
Cool.
And I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to play out, but we're really looking forward to see all of that. And that's
there's some cool collections here in Houston that various people have.
So we wanted to welcome the Bayway bunch, and thank you very much for helping us do this program. All right, Mr. Mars, would you like to go ahead and introduce our guest?
Well, yeah, we've been talking about this Mustang, this Boss 429 Mustang, since it rolled in this morning.
Yeah.
And so Mr. Eric Lipper is the one that drove it in. And instead of us talking like we think we know about it, he knows everything about it.
Well, I'm sure that he does. Eric, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for coming out.
Well, it's so nice to meet you guys.
Well, you too. I'm sure that you've heard about us because our everything precedes us.
Good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah.
It's always precedes
Our
us.
names have been written on men's rooms' walls for decades now.
And shown in the post office.
It's shown in the post office. So, you live around here?
I do. I live a couple miles away.
You know, we were just talking about that. I don't know whether you heard us or not, but, you know, these cruise-in type of things is real easy for the people that live around here to come to a deal like this because if it looks like it's going to rain, boom, I'm home.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, you can go look at that car. It has never been in the rain.
Well, let's hope that
And
it
we
doesn't
hope
get
that it
into it
doesn't
today. Yeah.
So tell us about it.
So that is a 69 Boss 429. It's number KK1658. So all the Boss 429s all got a number that was KK because Carcraft put the motors in the car. That car, it was interesting. A lot of these cars kind of got destroyed in the 70s. This is one of them. That car was bought new in Ohio, blew up the Boss motor, pulled it out, put a 351 in the car, and then drove it in salty roads in Ohio, and it got rotted.
That's any road in Ohio.
Exactly.
Even in the summer.
All I know is if I showed you the pictures of the restoration of that car, you would not believe it because there was virtually everything sheet metal in the car got touched. You know, and
It looks so original, though.
well, I'll tell you why it looks that way. First is every part that went back in the car was NOS Ford stuff.
That's hard to find.
And we were lucky because even though they had spun a bearing on the motor, we had
You found the motor?
No, they had the motor. They pulled
They
the
kept
motor.
it.
Yeah, they kept the engine.
Wow.
So it's a numbers matching. If you go look at that car, and this is kind of a neat thing about it, it's a Antique Automobile Club of America national champion, that car. And if you go look at a Visa card from the AACA, there's a Boss 429 on the Visa card.
It's that car?
It
So
is
I'm
that car.
assuming you have that Visa card.
I do.
Strange.
And you know, I'm a car guy like all of you.
Are you a Ford Mustang guy?
Pretty much. I'll tell you, I'm a little bit schizophrenic on what I collect. I've got Shelbys, Mustangs, and 63 split window coupe Corvette. So
Nice.
So I can play with everybody on the Chevy side.
Yeah,
And I've got two XKEs. I love the XK.
Jags,
What a beautiful car.
Yeah, and I think everybody that collects cars has to have an XKE just so you either get that or a psychiatrist.
Or both.
Exactly.
So verts or hard roofs?
One's a coupe, one's a convertible. And the convertible was a one-owner car that I bought in Norman, Oklahoma that had also rotted away. And I took it out to California and had a fabulous restoration shop do it. 4 years later, the car is absolutely perfect. But that was kind of probably my last major restoration.
So I want to know how you got involved in cars and all of that. Does this go back to childhood?
It does. I'll tell you, I grew up here in Houston. I'm a Westbury High School graduate.
Oh, my God, because so am I.
Are you?
He was probably a few years before you.
Well, I'll tell you, I grew up right over there. I worked at Russell Smith Ford as a kind of a floor sweeper.
I worked across the freeway at Richardson Chevrolet.
Okay, sure. Well, so, I just always liked cars. I was really lucky. I grew up in the early to mid 70s is when I was in the car world, and there were 66 Mustangs everywhere. And my next door neighbors had 66 Mustangs, and fortunately, they wrecked them all the time, and so they were always taking them apart to fix them. And I learned how to do it, and been a car guy my whole life.
What do you do now?
I'm a lawyer. Is kind of my day job, but I've got a airplane charter business, little real estate here and there.
You got your fingers in all the pies.
We may need your business card of the attorney side.
I will tell you that I'm into all things bad, according to my wife, because I also collect antique airplanes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And old boats too. So just.
Are you coming to Keels and Wheels?
I am.
Awesome.
Are you displaying at Keels?
I am, and I'm a Lakewood member, and so that Boss 429 is going to be there. I've got a 66 GT350 that's going to be there, and the XKE convertible is going to be there.
Very nice.
And we'll be there.
Well, good. Well, I will tell you, the 66 GT350, if you really are into Shelby's, is car 889, and I don't know why I remember all this stuff, but it's a carryover car. So
I was hoping that wasn't somebody's car.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think that's the garbage man.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not a Boss 429.
The first thing he did, he looked over at his car.
Like, I have seen more things in life,
Yes.
So, but anyway, our 66 GT350 will be there. The theme of the show this year is Ford versus Ferrari.
Right.
And the show, of course, got a little disjointed at Lakewood because we got canceled last year
because of COVID. Yep.
And y'all probably know Bob Fuller
very well.
And Bob's been sick.
He's struggling.
And so there's other guys at the club that are picking up the show.
Yep.
And Bob is still going to be there. I've seen him.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting well, but he needed to kind of hand off the reins this year.
Yeah,
So,
I talked to him this week. As a matter of fact. Yeah.
Well, he's a great guy. It really doesn't much to do with our show, but he's the reason I'm in Lakewood Yacht Club. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And what a beautiful facility!
It is.
And a facility that puts on a wonderful show. To me, a nationally recognized show, and it's all volunteers from the club that come handle it.
Yeah.
And they're all so gracious and helpful as you're wandering through trying to figure out where stuff is.
Yeah, I think and the show has really gotten national prominence.
Oh, very much so. Very
because
much so.
I'll tell you, the shop that restored my XKE is in Oceanside, California. And when they heard that I was putting the show in Keels and the car in Keels and Wheels, they were thrilled because they knew what the show was.
Good.
Now there may be one other really interesting thing at Keels and Wheels this year, and this was so exciting. I just did this 2 weeks ago. I got an Aerovault trailer, if you know what that is. So, you know who Peter Brock is?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so Peter Brock and his wife Gail started a trailer company called Aerovault, and it is a Peter Brock designed trailer. It's an aluminum monocoque.
Trailer.
Trailer.
Uh-huh.
It's real aerodynamic looking, and I can tell you by experience, you can tow it at 90 miles an hour, and you'd never know it's behind you.
So it's all aero.
It is, and so you'll see it there. You'll see my hat says Lipper Garage on it. It's got the Lipper Garage logo on it.
Oh, how cool. I just Googled up Aerovault. How cool is that?
Yeah, and I have the only one that's red.
Huh. Of course you do.
Because it's got to match the the 429.
I meant to say that and this was another strange thing of my collection is maybe about 4 years ago, I just decided it was time to be all red. So I've culled through all the other colors of cars that I had, and I've gone to just red.
Just red.
Yeah, you got to have something in life.
Well, it's one of those things when you're going down the road and the lights come on behind you that are blue and white.
Mm-hmm.
And you're driving this give me a ticket red car. You just got to expect it.
So are your Jags red?
And so let me just interject here. He would know that because that happens quite
I do.
Yes.
He knows quite frequently has that happened to him. Yeah. So what are your plans? I mean, so you collect all of these cars.
Uh-huh.
Do you actually turn any wrenches on them?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your latest project?
Well, right now I'm on airplane mode, so I'm getting ready to. Literally today, I was going to pull the engine out of the crate on a 1955 Bonanza that I'm restoring.
Okay.
Probably start putting the motor in this weekend. I've just finished about a year ago.
Where's the hangar?
I'm
He doesn't want to say.
I'm in 3 different locations.
Okay.
So I've got one at Ellington, one at Sugar Land, and one at Hobby.
Oh. Okay.
And but I finished last year a 1947 Stagger Wing, big radial engine thing.
Oh, I love the sound of a radial.
Do you actually fly them?
I do, yeah.
What is it that you don't do?
I'm not a good cook.
Doesn't do mashed potatoes.
I I can make a turkey sandwich, but that's about all I got there.
Yeah, with
DoorDash is your friend.
Exactly.
That is so
Try
funny.
some of the tacos out here; they're good.
Yeah, truly interesting. So, the other cars in your collection, you named two, and you'll name the ones that you're going to have down at Keels and Wheels. Others?
Yeah. Well, here's I'll tell you this is really the most interesting car. I'm taking it to the Mustang Club of America show, and this summer is called Yellow Brick Road in Kansas City, and I have a 1978 Mustang II King Cobra unrestored.
Oh, wow.
4,000 mile car, and when I say it's unrestored, I mean all the big Cobra decals, all that gaudy stuff that they stuck all over those cars. It
still looks
all good there, and I'm so excited to take the
Where
car.
did you find that car?
You know, there was a restaurant that actually came to Houston for a while called Quaker State Oil and Lube.
Yep, I remember
that. Was down on 45 South. Well,
right around NASA Freeway.
Exactly.
Yep.
They had a restaurant in Orlando, and so I'm in Orlando, and they've got a sign that says they're closing.
You're going to sell all the stuff, and
Exactly.
that car was in the restaurant.
It was in the restaurant,
Wow.
and they bought that car. That restaurant was open from 1990 until 2017.
Oh, I didn't realize they were that old.
Yeah, and so car had been sitting inside for 27 years. And you don't know.
Did they have it up inside the roof?
Yeah, it was on a 4-post lift above the salad bar. And
above the salad bar.
And
saying if it was a Harley, it would have been leaking oil on the salad, right?
Yeah. And so
salad dressing.
And so I didn't know, what we were going to get out of this car, but it runs great. The air conditioning works. I mean,
surprising.
Seriously?
Yeah. From sitting that long, yeah.
So did you have to do anything once they got it off the 4-post lift?
I've done some stuff to it.
Just light maintenance work?
Well, the clutch, because it had sat for so long, the clutch had fused to the pressure plate.
Yep.
So I had to pull the transmission, separate them. And there was other things like, you'll remember this on these Fords of that vintage, they had this kind of paper hose that went from the air cleaner snorkel.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That paper hose had just disintegrated.
By the way, back to
time and age.
Back to the clutch and pressure plate. See, that's my kind of stuff, but I would have gotten that great big long screwdriver in there and unglued it.
Well, yeah, but
wasn't going to happen.
You have to understand that the Mustang II was like one of the most unloved cars.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
It is a collectible to those who desire to collect.
They pull all the front ends off of them and put them in other cars.
That's right, but the problem with it is nobody reproduces the parts for that car. So if you get your screwdriver and you start banging around and you damage what you've got, you just did it. I just spent two and a half years looking for the air cleaner top for that car because it had an aluminum air cleaner top.
That was exclusive probably to the King Cobra.
It was, and somebody dropped it before I owned the car, and it was damaged. And so I looked forever, and I finally found one.
Where'd you find it? Online.
Believe it or not, I found it on eBay, and it was straight, but it wasn't cosmetically very pretty, but it's amazing what you can do with aluminum.
Yep.
In time.
It repolished.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks great. So that car's going to go to Kansas City, so that's one of them. And I've got a 69 GT500 convertible 4-speed.
Oh, wow.
That's a fabulous car. 67 GT500 fastback, factory air 4-speed car.
Factory air.
Very rare.
With a manual.
13 cars got set up manual and air.
Amazing.
I've got, let me think, the two XKEs. The 63 split window coupe I have is a really neat car because it was a one-owner car that had never been in an accident. It had to get restored.
Color is it?
Red.
Of course it's red.
That's what he said. Everything's red.
Ask me any question. It's always red.
Red. Your interior red, too?
No, it's black.
Nice.
Black.
And it's a coupe or convertible?
Coupe. Split window coupe.
Okay.
Shifter?
Yep.
Manual.
4-speed and but it's the 300 horse car. It's not. It's
it was
not
the base motor.
Yeah. Well, 250 was they had a 250,
Okay,
300, 340, and 360 if you got the Fuelie. And when when I was prioritizing what I wanted, I mean, red's number one.
Yeah, right.
Split window.
Split window had to be, but stick shift was number two.
Yeah.
Now there weren't a lot of Power Glide ones, but there
was some.
Yeah, it seemed like when I was looking, there was 2 or 3 Power Glide cars out there, and I couldn't do that. It was.
It's funny about that 63, and I've told this story. I think everybody's probably heard it 2 or 3 times, but I had an opportunity to meet Zora Duntoff, and at a car show that I was showing my car in back in, I don't know, 78, 79, somewhere in there. It was Oklahoma. And we asked him about the 1-year-only 63 split window Corvette. He said that car was never planned to be a split window, and that the car was planned to be a whole one solid piece of glass. But I think it was LOF that made the glass. They did not have the technology to make the solid piece just yet.
Okay.
So that's how they came out with the split, because they could make the 2 sections.
Yeah.
And I had no clue. But he was proud of the car, except he hated that split window.
Yeah, well, one of the treats by me getting this Aerovault trailer and meeting Pete Brock was, Pete Brock and Larry Shinoda were both on the design team of that car. And so one of the treats I got from meeting Pete Brock was he has some prints of his original drawing of the 63 Corvette.
Oh, wow.
And so he gave me one.
Did it have the split on it?
It's the side view of the car. You don't see
like
the
a
split.
profile, so you wouldn't see it.
But it's so the car, because it was Pete Brock's concept. If you watch Speed Racer, it looks a little bit like the Mach 5 and a 63 Corvette kind of pushed together.
I think of all of those Corvettes throughout the years, that model is probably the prettiest and most sought-after model of all, in my book, and I'm a Corvette guy.
Yeah, well, they say it's the blue chip of all Corvettes, and then, then if you go get, like, the big tank.
Oh, yeah.
Car,
Actually, there was a guy that I was a good friend with that actually had a tank car, and it was red, and he was down off the Gulf Freeway, and we went to Oklahoma City together, and it was a tank car, and it was weird, and it was very rare.
Yeah, well, the one thing that really is neat about that Corvette is if you go get in any of these cars from the 60s, that car really does drive well. I mean, it's a great car.
Well, and the fun thing about the whole C2, it was only 63 to 67.
Right.
And each year was quite unique because the Stinger hood was only 67.
Right.
The SS 390 or the 396 was only 65. Split window was only 63. Each of those years had that penultimate uniqueness available in that body style.
Can you stay with us for a little while?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go out and see my friend. Can I come back in a minute?
Yeah, sure. You can, because we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back.
Okay. Is your friend the one with the
He's right there.
Yeah. Mike Haney. Mike Haney's going to come and tell us about his car here shortly.
Okay, cool.
All right. Hey, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you before you leave.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
All right,
good.
thanks again. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Show, coming to you today live from the Tailpipes and Tacos event here at Lupe number 2. We're on 5969, the Southwest Freeway, and we invite you to come down for some really nice cars out here. And we'd like you to, if you can't bring your own car today to the cruise in, we invite you to come down and see these that are here today. Tacos are here, hot coffee I can smell right now, and it smells like a Bloody Mary to me.
Sorry about that.
We'll be right.
That was dinner last night.
We'll be right back here on the In Wheel Time Car Show after a quick break. Stay with us. Oh my God, I don't know what to play.
Where'd the battery?
They're in the yellow box.
I have to look and see what I'm going to play. Here it is. Let me tell you about a locally owned and operated group of dealerships called Bayway. Bayway owner Darrell Wisniewski is born and raised right here, and he knows Houstonians better than anyone. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, Bayway Lincoln, and Bayway Chevrolet are managed by Lincoln Stahl. And when you get to know these guys, you'll want to become part of the Bayway family too. Feel good that you're part of Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com, BaywayChevrolet.com, and BaywayLincoln.com. Remember the name, Bayway. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, May 15th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone's invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all at one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupe founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, May 15th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise in, May 15th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy, weather permitting. If you're in charge of your company's small, medium, or large business anywhere in the U.S., let the On Hold Company help you retain customers and promote your business on your telephone system. Promote special sales or company info when placed on hold. The On Hold Company provides custom on-hold messages with professional male or female voices, licensed background music with no long-term contract, no monthly recurring bill, and updates your messages as needed. Call the On Hold Company at 713-223-HOLD or go to onhold.net.